Hi everybody. The Blue Huron Bridge in South Florida is one of my all-time favorite dive sites. Being a muck dive, however, we always have to deal with problems of a distracting background, backscatter, and a lot of subjects which hide under ledges and in crevices. This can make it real difficult to properly illuminate your subjects. In this video, I'm going to show how we can use a snoot to really eliminate some of these problems and create compelling images. Let's check it out. There are many snoots available. I use a retro snoot, or light shaping device as it's called. The snoot easily attaches to the front of my Ike Light strobe. It comes with insertable masks with openings of different shapes and sizes. It does not provide the light, but it shapes the light beam coming from my strobe. I turn on my strobe guide light to see where my snooted beam is aimed. The tricky part is learning to focus the subject with my camera while at the same time illuminating the subject with my snooted beam. Let's look at how a snoot can improve your images. This is a typical macro image of a blenny at the Blue Huron Bridge. Now this is the same blenny using a snooted beam, much more appealing without the distracting background. Now this pike blenny was captured with my typical Ike Light strobe setup. I opened the aperture to blur the distracting background, but it still kind of bothers me. However, I put the snoot over my strobe and aimed it to show the blenny but not the background. I like this image much more. The subject does not have to be tiny. Now here's a typical octopus image taken with my usual strobe setup. I was above the animal and the background's very distracting. For this image, I got low and opened up my shutter to blur the distracting background. It looks better, but the background still annoys me a little bit. Here I used a snoot without a mask so that the beam was somewhat larger to illuminate most of the octopus, but now without the pesky annoying background, the image is much more engaging. This is a stargazer taken with my conventional strobe setup and with a snoot. Now I made the beam size smaller and flipped down my +10 wet diopter lens and got a super macro image of its eye. Without the distracting background too, and I really like this image. A snoot also allows for less backscatter, especially when held at an oblique angle from your camera. This image of a banded coral shrimp was taken at only 6 feet of visibility, and yet there was minimal backscatter. Now you can aim the beam in creative ways. I like this image of a yellow line arrow crab. Here I highlighted a scorpionfish eye. The cornea and the lens really stand out against the black background. Now I could not properly illuminate this beautiful blue-eyed crab because it was hiding under a ledge, but I was able to carefully aim my snooted beam and capture it with minimal backscatter and not much of an annoying background either. Now dive conditions can be a factor. There was a lot of surge, too much to get a clear image of the eye of this scorpionfish. The fish held still and was very cooperative. It almost asked me to get a nice shot, but the surge caused too much camera movement, and while I was able to aim my snooted beam on the eye, I could not hold my camera still enough to focus. Luckily, the scorpionfish never knew what a lousy picture I took. Nudibranchs allow a close approach generally and move fairly slowly, but they're often in busy, distracting surroundings. A snooted beam can really improve your nudibranch images. Now there was some surge here which made it difficult for me to hold my camera and snooted beam still. This was the best I could do. It might not be great, but at least I got rid of the annoying background. Now we also have to remember to check our LCD to make sure our subject is not under or over illuminated. On this box crab I did not have enough strobe power, and for this I obviously had too much strobe power. Now you can adjust your strobe power, the strobe to subject distance, the camera aperture, or even the ISO to get the correct exposure. Finally, it takes practice to aim the beam. My initial attempts at shooting this yellow line arrow crab was unsuccessful. I aimed and focused my camera on the subject, but the aim of my snooted beam was off. This one was much better. Well, again, I flipped down my +10 wet diopter, and this one was better yet. Well, I hope this video demonstrates how a snoot can improve your muck diving images by eliminating an annoying background, minimizing backscatter, illuminating subjects under a ledge or in a crevice, and using unique illumination angles to create compelling images. Thank you very much.